picture this. A smoky room filled with the hum of rock legends tuning their guitars. Somewhere in the midst of it all stands Linda Ronstadt, a voice that defined an era. For decades, her name has been intertwined with the Eagles, the band that skyrocketed to fame after playing in her early lineup. But now, Linda is shattering the glossy facade of rock and roll camaraderie, revealing a darker, messier reality about her relationship with the iconic band, and fans are stunned. Ronstadt, known for her fearless honesty, has pulled back the curtain to expose a history of ego clashes, betrayals, and bitter feuds. While the Eagles' harmonies may have been heavenly, their backstage dynamics, according to Ronstadt, were anything but. Linda shares that the Eagles owe their very existence to her early support. In 1971, her manager, John Boylan, assembled Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Bernie Leadon, and Randy Meisner to serve as her backing band during a tour. Linda thought she was helping a group of talented musicians find their footing. Little did she know, this collaboration would plant the seeds of tension that would later define their relationship. She recounts how the dynamic began to shift even before the band officially launched their own career. According to Linda, it became clear early on that the group had no interest in maintaining a collaborative relationship with her once they found success. She reflects that they were laser-focused on their own ambitions, often at the cost of their personal connections. Linda explains that one of the first cracks in their relationship emerged over creative differences. She believed that their collaboration would continue even after they became the Eagles, but she was met with resistance. The band, she says, was fiercely protective of their sound and reluctant to share credit with anyone, even someone who had supported them from the beginning. She recalls their intense perfectionism, which was both their strength and their downfall. Linda describes an environment where every note and lyric became a battlefield. For her, what could have been a rewarding partnership quickly turned into a toxic situation where egos clashed and tempers flared. As the Eagles' fame grew, so did their sense of entitlement, Linda suggests. She paints a picture of a band consumed by their own success, often sidelining those who had helped them get there. She remembers trying to reach out to them during difficult times in her own career, only to be met with cold indifference. Linda describes this as one of the most disappointing aspects of their relationship, as she had considered them friends. She also notes that their competitiveness often extended beyond her and into their own ranks. The band's internal dynamics, she says, were fraught with power struggles and jealousy, with Glenn Frey and Don Henley frequently asserting dominance over other members. Linda Ronstadt's revelations pull back the curtain not only on her personal experiences with the Eagles but also on the growing list of conflicts that plagued the band throughout its history. What emerges is a picture of a group whose talent and ambition were matched only by their capacity for discord. She describes a pattern of tension driven by control issues, perfectionism, and the relentless pursuit of success, which left a trail of fractured relationships in its wake. Bernie Leadon, a founding member of the Eagles, standing backstage in 1975, surrounded by the roar of fans demanding another encore. But for Leadon, the spotlight had become unbearable. As Linda recounts, his departure wasn't sudden, it was the result of a slow-burning resentment toward Glenn Frey and Don Henley, whose vision for the band leaned increasingly toward commercial appeal. Leadon, with his deep roots in country and bluegrass, felt sidelined as the band moved toward a slicker, more mainstream rock sound. The tension came to a head in a moment that's become the stuff of rock legends. Frustrated during a heated argument with Frey, Leadon poured a beer over his head and walked away, signaling the end of his time with the band. Linda recalls this act as both dramatic and inevitable, a final stand in a battle he had been losing for years. His departure wasn't just the loss of a band member, it was a turning point, marking the beginning of the Eagles' transformation into a tightly controlled enterprise dominated by Frey and Henley. If Bernie Leadon's departure was a clash of artistic values, Randy Meisner's exit was a battle of wills. Linda points to a specific incident in 1977 that epitomizes the band's unyielding internal pressure. Meisner, the original bassist and a key vocal contributor, had grown increasingly anxious about performing "Take It to the Limit," a song that demanded he hit an emotionally charged high note. During a live show, Meisner refused to sing it, citing exhaustion and vocal strain. Frey, never one to tolerate dissent, confronted him in a heated backstage argument that left Meisner feeling humiliated and alienated. Linda describes this moment as emblematic of the Eagles' dynamic, a relentless drive for perfection that often overshadowed compassion. To Frey and Henley, every performance was a proving ground, and any sign of weakness was met with frustration rather than support. For Meisner, it was the breaking point. He left the band shortly after, marking another casualty of the group's internal strife. By the time Don Felder joined the Eagles in 1974, the cracks in the band's foundation were already beginning to show. Felder brought with him exceptional talent, contributing to some of their most iconic songs, including co-writing the legendary Hotel California. But as Linda reveals, even his contributions couldn't protect him from the growing dominance of Frey and Henley. The tensions between Felder and the band's leaders simmered for years, often erupting into explosive arguments during recording sessions and tours. Felder, who prided himself on his artistry, began to feel like a hired hand rather than an equal partner. The breaking point came in 2001, long after the band had reunited, when Felder filed a lawsuit against Frey and Henley, accusing them of greed and unfair treatment. The lawsuit detailed the toxic dynamics within the band, exposing the controlling nature of its leadership. Linda views Felder's lawsuit as more than just a legal dispute. It was the culmination of years of resentment and disenfranchisement. His story, she says, is a stark reminder of how ambition can erode even the strongest creative partnerships. Linda doesn't mince words when analyzing the root cause of these conflicts. To her, it all comes down to a culture within the Eagles that valued control and success above all else. Frey and Henley, the self-appointed architects of the band's legacy, were unwilling to compromise, often at the expense of their relationships with bandmates and collaborators. Linda suggests that this unyielding approach, while instrumental in crafting their polished sound and commercial success, left little room for the individuality and artistry of others. The result, she says, was a revolving door of talent, with each departure adding another layer of tension and bitterness to the band's history. For Linda, these stories aren't just anecdotes, they're evidence of a deeper truth about the Eagles, that their greatness came at a cost, one that was often borne by the very people who helped them achieve it. Through Linda Ronstadt's eyes, the Eagles' story isn't just one of chart-topping hits and sold-out tours. It's also a tale of ambition unchecked, where the pursuit of perfection left a trail of broken relationships and unresolved conflicts. While their music continues to resonate, the stories behind the songs remind us that even the most iconic bands are only as strong as the bonds that hold them together, and sometimes, those bonds aren't strong enough. Linda emphasizes that the Eagles' quest for perfection often came at a steep price. While their meticulous attention to detail helped create some of the most iconic songs in rock history, it also alienated collaborators and strained friendships. She describes how this drive for excellence often made them difficult to work with, as they insisted on having the final say in every decision. She reflects that while their music was undeniably brilliant, the personal cost of their success was high. She believes that their single-minded pursuit of greatness left behind a trail of broken relationships and unresolved tensions. Now retired from performing due to her battle with Parkinson's disease, Linda is candid about the impact of her time with the Eagles. She acknowledges their immense talent, but is clear that their behavior left a lasting mark on her. She describes her disappointment in how their friendship dissolved and how fame seemed to change them for the worse. While Linda says she has moved on, she hopes that sharing her experiences will shed light on the less glamorous side of rock and roll success. She believes that the story of the Eagles is a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition unchecked by humility. The Eagles remain one of the most celebrated bands in history, their music a cornerstone of American rock. But Linda Ronstadt's revelations add a layer of complexity to their legacy. Behind the polished image of chart-topping hits and sold-out tours lies a story of ambition, betrayal, and the human cost of greatness. Linda's story reminds us that even the brightest stars cast shadows. As fans reevaluate their perception of the Eagles, one thing is clear: the road to success is rarely as harmonious as the songs that define it. The Eagles' place in music history is undeniable. Their songs are etched into the soundtrack of American life, timeless, evocative, and seemingly flawless. But as Linda Ronstadt's revelations come to light, the cracks in their polished image begin to show. For every glimmer of their brilliance, there's an undertone of strife, revealing that their journey to superstardom was paved with more than just talent and hard work. It was also marked by relentless ambition, fractured friendships, and sacrifices made in the name of success. Linda's story challenges the myth of the Eagles as a harmonious brotherhood. She lifts the veil on a legacy that is as complex as it is inspiring. While their music continues to soar, their interpersonal struggles remind us that greatness often comes at a cost. Behind their chart-topping hits and sold-out tours lies a narrative of human imperfection, a sobering contrast to the polished image they presented to the world. What makes Linda's perspective so compelling is its duality. It doesn't diminish their achievements but instead adds depth to their story. The Eagles' legacy isn't just one of artistry and innovation, it's also a cautionary tale about the cost of ambition and the fragility of relationships in the high-stakes world of fame. In the end, their story reminds us that even the most celebrated figures cast shadows, proof that the road to success is rarely as harmonious as the melodies that define it.